And now I'd like to invite Craig Bence to the podium. Craig is the graduate student speaker. And again, Craig's biography can be found in your brochure there. Craig?
Good evening. In 1972, the United Negro College Fund adopted as their motto, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." To this day, this phrase continues to stir up emotions when discussed in both educational and non-educational settings. So, what is it about mankind that makes us so concerned about the wasting of a mind? And if we are concerned about it, how do we keep from wasting it? My recommendation is to practice what is called lifelong learning. The U.S. Department of Education defined lifelong learning as a process by which individuals consciously acquire formal or informal education throughout their lifespan for personal development or career advancement. Of course, formal education is related to traditional forms of learning. By traditional, I mean you buy books, you attend school, you go to class, you take tests, and graduate, like the graduates here before you this evening. If your passion drives you to this formal approach to learning, I can think of no better place to satisfy that passion than right here at UNO. For me, UNO did not look at a guy who had been out of formal learning environment for more than a quarter of a century and say, "Really? Are you serious?" Instead, they said, "Absolutely. We will do everything in our power to make sure your dream becomes a reality." And here I am this evening, as living proof that formal education can be obtained at any age, as long as there is a desire within and institutions like UNO. Informal learning has been described as a lifelong process, emphasis on lifelong, through which we acquire attitudes, values, skills, and knowledge from our daily experiences. For example, I have had a lifelong fascination with electrical things. As a young boy, I would collect and configure electrical contraptions of all kinds, and not knowing if they would work, I would instruct my assistant, my baby sister, to plug them into the outlet. Of course, as I slowly backed away from the outlet, needless to say, after several blown circuits and blackened outlets and brief experiences with electricity running through our bodies, mainly my sister's, my assistant quit. You know, good help is so hard to find. However, we both experienced informal learning during those experiments. Today, I continue to be fascinated with electrical things. My baby sister, not so much. But my early passion in experimenting with electrical things is one of the reasons I have been fascinated by and involved with the computer industry since the 1980s. Now, I admit that embracing this idea of lifelong learning, whether it is formal or informal, may not be for everyone. But having a passion or desire to know or learn something new, I believe exists in all of us. For example, I would venture to guess that if I asked each and every one of you here this evening to think of one thing that you would still like to learn or experience in your lifetime, that no matter what your age, 100% of you would come up with something. It may not be something that could be accomplished in an hour or a day, and it may not be something that could physically be done in the near future. But what I ask you to think about is this: what is actually preventing you from accomplishing this? Is it time? Is it money? Is it risk? Is it your age? Is it yes to all of the above? If so, I then ask you to consider the Benjamin Franklin quote, "You can do anything you set your mind to." You know, come to think of it, old Ben had a thing for electricity too. I wonder if he had an assistant. Anyway, this evening, I do encourage you all to embrace this concept of lifelong learning. If you're wondering how to get started, listen to your heart and follow your passions. If you do, they will surely lead you on a path of discovering this wonderful, wonderful world in which we live. In closing this evening, I would like to leave you all with one final thought. No matter whether you are 9 or 90 years of age, there is no expiration date on our ability to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.